Welcome back to educator.com. For the next lesson, we're going to be writing equations. So an equation is a math statement with two expressions equaling each other. Now, the previous lesson, we went over expressions, how to write expressions. Remember, an expression is a math statement that also uses numbers and variables. An equation is when two of those expressions are equal to each other. So the main difference between expression and equation is that equation has an equal sign. Okay, so if you look at the first four words of equation, okay, it's almost the full word equal, right? So think of equation as equal or having an equal sign, whereas expressions do not. Okay. If I just said a plus 3 without equaling 5, that would be considered an expression. But if you say a plus 3 equal to 5, then that becomes an equation. Okay. So here we're going to use words and operations into words to write this two ways: as an equation using numbers and variables, and using just words only. So to go over our different operations, okay, this for addition, we can use plus, we can use more than. For the subtraction, we can use minus, we can use less than. For multiplication, we can use times or product. For division, we can say divided by, we can say quotient. And this one, when you see the word is, that means equals. Okay, so you can say a plus 3 equals 5, then you can say a plus 3 is 5. Also, to go over this, more than and less than, when you see the word then, just like when we're writing expressions, you have to switch. So for example, if I say A more than B, more than means plus, but instead of saying A plus B in that order, we have to switch those two. So instead of A plus B, you're going to write B plus A. Okay, so it's for this one and this one. Whenever you see the word then, okay, you're going to switch them. Okay. So let's do a few examples. Write each as an equation. So the first one, 10 minus A is 5. We know that. Can write that. Minus means minus. A, and then is, is equal, and 5. So that's it. That would be our equation. 10 minus A equals 5. Okay, and the second one, the product of 7 and 8 is X. Product means times. So 7 times 8 is X. Now, I know that this means times, right? This means product. But when I start writing equations, I don't want to use this anymore. I don't want to use the X to represent multiplication, because X we use that as a variable, right? So since we're using it as a variable, as an unknown number, unknown value, I don't want to write it here because it looks like I have a variable, right? So instead of using the X to represent times, you can either, for now, write the little dot, okay? But even this, later on, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. So the best way to show two numbers being multiplied together is in parentheses, to write each of them in parentheses. Okay, and that's the best way to represent multiplication, two numbers being multiplied together. Okay, so this If you see two numbers written in parentheses like this, then that means times. It means 7 times 8. The next one, a number plus 4 is 10. Okay. Here it just says a number. So a number plus 4 is 10. We know this is plus 4 equals 10. But we don't know what that is, right? So anything unknown, we write as a variable. And you can just pick whatever variable. You can say A, you can say B, you can say D, whatever your favorite letter is, okay? You're going to write that as a number. The next one, 6 is P divided by 3. 6 equals P divided by 3. Or divided by can also be written as a fraction. So this can be 6 equals P divided by 3. Okay? You can write it like this, or you can write it like that. Let's do a few more. 12 is 2 more than A. 12 is 2 more than A. We know more than is plus, but you see that word right there? So instead of writing 2 plus A, I have to write A plus 2. Okay, and you're going to leave it like that. A number multiplied by 2 is 20. A number, okay, again, we see that, a number, so I can say M multiplied times 2 is 20. Okay, M times 2 equals 20. Now, when it comes to multiplying letters and numbers together, you don't have to write it like this. We can just stick them together with a number in front. So I can write M times 2 as 2M. When you have a number in front of a variable like that, it means multiply them. So this is 2 times M, and you can write it in that way. Now, here they said a number first, right? A number multiplied by 2. So you would think you write it like that, but when you have a number times a variable, you always write the number in front. Okay, so you don't have to write anything between them. You don't have to write the dot. You don't have to write parentheses. Only when it comes to numbers with variables. Or you can do it variable to variable also. So if it's M times N, then you can just write them together like that. Okay? Just be careful that you cannot write it with number being multiplied to a number. So if I want to say 2 times 3, if I put them together like that, then that just becomes 23. That doesn't say 2 times 3. Okay, so you can't write it like that. Only when you're multiplying a number with a letter, a variable, or variable with variable. Okay, only when a variable is involved, you can write them together. Okay, so M times 2 equals 20, so this can be written as 2M equals 20. The quotient of a number and 4 is 40. So quotient is divide. Quotient of, what are the two things that we're dividing? A number and 4. So a number, again, is just a variable, so that you can say Z. So Z divided by 4 equals 40. Again, we can write this as a fraction. So this can be Z over 4 equals 40. Z divided by 4 equals 40. And the last one, 2 added to a number is 21. So 2 added to a number, P, equals 21. And again, you can use whatever variable you want, okay? So 2 plus p equals 21. Write the equation using words. So you can write this several ways, right? Because we know that addition, we can use plus, we can use added, we can use the sum, okay? So here, you can say 5 plus z is 9. Okay, I'm going to use sum. So I'm going to say the sum of 5 and z. So if you use sum, then you have to write the two things that you're going to be adding together. So 5 and z, those are the two things, right? Equals translates to is 9. The sum of 5 and z is 9. Here, 3, this is 18. 18 minus a. You can also say 3 is a less than 18. Okay, and remember that here I had to switch these because of this, right? The next one, the product of 2 and b, or you can say 2 times b. The product of 2. Now, be careful. You're not going to say 2 times b because you already said product, right? You already used that word, okay, to show operation. So here, you're going to write and. So you're saying between this and b. This is, and then 10. So the product of 2 and b is 10. And the fourth one, 36 divided by 3 is 12. Or I can say the quotient of 36 and 3 is 12. So it's okay if yours is a little bit different than what I wrote, okay, as long as you use the words correctly. Okay, so make sure if you're going to use less than or more than, okay, here, then you're going to switch. Okay, so you can say z more than 5 is 9. Okay, so we're going to determine if the equation is true or false. The first one, 12 is the sum of 10 and 2. Okay, I'm going to write it as an equation first. So 12 equals, we know is equals, the sum, we're going to add, we're going to be adding what and what? 10 and 2. So 10 plus 2. Well, is this true? 12 equals 10 plus 2? Yes, it's true. So, okay. Number 2, the product of 6 and 3 is 15. Product means you're going to be multiplying. So, 6 and 3. Now remember, if you're going to multiply two numbers, the best way for you to write that is to write them each in parentheses. So 6 and 3 is equals 15. 6 times 3 we know is not 15, so this one is false. And the next one, 8 minus 10 is 2. Equals 2. Now this may look right, this may look true, but it's actually not. Because here, this is 8 minus 10. If I had 10 minus 8, this equals 2, right? But that's not the equation. It's 8 minus 10. So remember, this number is smaller than this number, right? This is, if I have a number line, this is 0. Say this is 8, okay? If I'm going to start at 8 and then go backwards 10, because that's what minus says, then I'm going to be all the way to here that's 8, right? I moved 8 spaces, but then I have to move 2 more. So where am I going to land? If I move 10 spaces, then I'm going to land at negative 2. Okay, so then this is not true. This is false, because 8 minus 10 is negative 2. Again, you're starting at positive 8, and then you're going to move backwards 10 spaces on the number line, so you're going to land at negative 2. Okay? So this is false. Okay? You can also think of this as positive 8 and negative 10. Remember, minus and negative is the same thing. So if you want, you can circle this sign with that number. This is positive 8 and negative 10. We know that this is the bigger number, so we have to give this the sign of that number. Okay, if you remember from going over integers. Okay, so positive 8 minus 10. Another way you can think of this for integers, if you have 8 apples, okay, it's a positive 8, so you have something. You have 8 apples, but let's say you need 10 apples. So you're going to bake an apple pie or something, and you need 10 apples. Okay, negative means that you need it or you borrowed it. So you have 8, you need 10, so are you short? Do you have 2 left? No, you don't have 2 apples left. You used up all of your apples and you need 2 more. So that would be a negative 2 because you're short 2. Okay, so that's a negative 2. So it would be 8 minus 10 would be negative 2. Okay, and that's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching educator.com.